number of bottles, so 10 and 14 K time, 6 in Japan time. I'll explain that as each trip comes in. I'll just hand over to Greg.
Konnichiwa. Thank you. Who's going to go first?
Gregor, 14 changes. Big call in the back row. Fraser just shows Fraser's versatility that he can slot in there. He's really shown his work now, isn't he? That he's kind of pretty slow.
I think that's off. Is that not on? There you go.
Is that working? Yes. Yeah, well, it obviously helps us make sure that the forward pack that played at the weekend, that started at the weekend, get a rest. Other players get an opportunity. You have to be flexible with your squad. We're fortunate that Fraser has played at open side already in this World Cup for a large part of the Ireland game. He played very well for us against Argentina just over a year ago, and he's in excellent form. So to have him on the field as well as George Turner enables us to keep players in reserve that have played in our last game.
How are the players in terms of fatigue? I mean, it's, they played a lot of rugby, there's a lot of rugby to come. The guys, Finn and Hoggy in the back row, are they all okay?
Really good. We've had a long rest into this game. We obviously don't have too much of a rest into our final game, but the players are well recovered after the Samoa game. They had 3 days off. We've had a traditional week's build into this game, so our Thursday was equivalent of a Monday for a Saturday game, and the players who are not involved, the Kobe 8, as we call them, are doing extra sessions, extra fitness. They wish they were involved in this game, but they obviously know that we've got 2 games in a short period of time.
You can see in the room today, there's increased attendance at your first round, which is a lot of us to try and get. You've got a big job to do on Wednesday. Russia have shown themselves to be a very passionate team, frustrated Ireland, frustrated Samoa, and
Japan.
And Japan. Japan. You've got a job on your hands to do first before you get to
We have, and Russia have gained in confidence. They look a fit team, so the time they've spent together, whether it was in this last few weeks or the camp prior to the World Cup, they've obviously worked on their fitness, because they've kept on going the longer the tournament's gone on. So they've been better in the second halves of the last 2 games compared to the first game. They were leading at half-time against Samoa. They were just trailing against Japan, which would have been a huge game for them, opening the World Cup. And their defence has certainly improved. They had 90% tackle completion against Ireland, who are one of the best teams in the world. Very good scrum, excellent kicking. I thought the 10 who played for the first time against Ireland was outstanding with his kicking game. They have some physical players who are good rugby players too. The 7 and the 8 are excellent players. The scrum is solid, one of the best scrums you'll see, and the Tighthead's been one of the players of the tournament so far in terms of the scrum. And it's their last game, so they will throw everything into this. Last World Cup for them in 4 years or longer if they don't qualify for the next one. So we're expecting as good a performance as they gave against Ireland, but maybe even another level up.
And we were on the chat today about this typhoon that's supposed to be here. Hurricane Haggis is on the next one.
I did notice. I thought, is it called Haggis? Well, that was my first thought. It's called Typhoon Haggis, but I'm sure it's a different word. Yeah, we came off the training field today, and it seemed to be getting passed around to everybody in the bus that the super typhoon, as our doctor calls it. Our doctor is James Robson, is an expert on a number of things outside the medical world, which one of them is the weather. So he showed me an app with the storm developing, and it's been something that's always been a possibility throughout October, throughout the typhoon season. There's been a couple that have skirted past Japan, and this could come into play over the weekend. I don't think it'll be a factor for our game on Wednesday, but perhaps we'll get the end of it in Tokyo on Sunday, Yokohama, sorry.
What is your understanding of what will happen if the Ireland game is effective? Because that seems to be the one that seems to be under some
Well, if the Ireland game cannot be postponed, it has to be played that day. And if it is cancelled, it can't be played that day, then it's 2 points to each team. So that's the rules. Now, whether it can be played in another venue that day, I'm not sure, but certainly according to the rules, you can't play it the following day.
Would you have any concerns if you were to qualify in the back of postponed games with through by the back door? What would that say? Message you send out?
No, we have to win our next 2 games to qualify. So that wouldn't change if the Ireland-Samoa game ended up in a draw.
In terms of, if you had any guidance on whether or not there was contingency plans for the Ireland game or not alternative venues you consider?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Has it been difficult to balance 2 games? Did you have to effectively kind of prepare for 2 games at once?
Not just now. I suppose the difficulty comes after Wednesday and how much time that we will have. Obviously, it's a short turnaround. 3 days gap between games is the shortest you can get. So what we can do with the players on Thursday will depend on what happens in the game on Wednesday. We have a plan in mind. We obviously had a few days training leading into this Russia game, and we have a plan the two days after that, or 3 days after that game. So we've obviously got Japan in the back of our minds. The front of our minds is all about Russia and delivering a winning performance and going to get a bonus point. Because if we don't get a bonus point win, our challenge against Japan is even more difficult. If we don't get a win, we're out of the tournament.
The consistency has been an issue for the team for a long time. What do you think you need to deliver against Russia to get the results that you desperately need?
A similar performance to how we played against Samoa, similar performance how we played against Georgia, both games. Consistency, I would imagine, is a factor for every team unless you win every game. So every time you don't win or don't perform your best, you obviously can be inconsistent, or you can have a day where you know it's not good enough to beat the best teams that you come up against. We've fronted up after games that we haven't played that well. It's important now that we build on the momentum that we created against Samoa.
I presume you're watching the Japan-Samoa game on Saturday. Controversial call at the end with the critical feud. Will you hold your chair shouting at Jack O'Brien?
I'm not really one that jumps out of the chair. I was watching everybody else's reaction to it, and we had a lot of people watching it in the team room. I think it's an incredible call, to be honest. I've never seen a cricket feed, certainly in the World Cup or the Six Nations. It's something that has not been refereed, and there's been an agreement that there's more latitude now for scrum halves putting the ball into a scrum because you're the team that's won the scrum. And to see it in a World Cup really surprised me. To see it as we got into injury time for a game-changing decision was an even bigger surprise.
Was it a right call?
Well, you could say it's a right. If you say it's a right call, you can say 80 to 90% of feeds are the right call. But it was a call that I've not seen for a long time in the game.
Do you think just before that, it looked like Japan might get a push over, try to get a penalty try? And a decision, Jack O'Brien made a decision to Samoa. Do you think he might have been compensating when he gave credit feed to reverse it?
I think the maul that got held up, that was a decision to a scrum to Samoa. I don't know much detail about that, but they certainly defended that maul. Then they got a free kick from the scrum as Japan had an early push. So those are the 3 incidents right at the end of the game.
Okay, let's move on to the 10 p.m. tomorrow night.